welcome into the last off-season episode of Operation Domination. We're going to be coming to you 3 times a week in the in-season. Don't worry. So make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Just search Operation Domination Football and make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe to the Fantasy Football Advice Network at FF Advice Net, because we're going to have content every single day of the week. As always, I'm your host, Dan Mader, joined here with Chase Thornton. Adam is off on another work day trip. The dude's killing me. It must be nice to take off. We're up here doing all the work and this guy's just gallivanting around work. Who wants to do that? But he will be back next week. We do have, replacing him today, is a very, very special guest that we must introduce. Now, he's the #1 fantasy football expert for Waiver Wire. Sunday Down is the one, the only,
There it is.
Ooh, that made my day. Guys, thanks for having me. This is great. I'm so excited to talk about tight ends with you guys.
So happy to have you on, Stace. One of our new friends we made from the Fantasy Football Expo. I think I've been bringing this up every single week now, but just another reason why you guys got to come out to the Expo in the last week of July again next year. All the net connections that we get to make. It's absolutely wonderful. So, Stace, you just mentioned it. We're talking tight ends today. We're wrapping up this best, this bust, this sleeper series that we've been working on all August, trying to get people the values that they're looking for their draft weekends. The last and the biggest one coming up on Labor Day weekend. And tight ends is one of those tricky positions. It's one of those ones where you're trying to think, do I want a top-notch guy to not stream? Do I want to stream down low? Which one wins more championships? Let me get your thoughts on the philosophy of drafting a tight end off the gate.
Yeah, so if I can't get one of the top 3 right off the bat, I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it as far as I possibly can. At the end of the day, you've got your Bowers, McBride, Kittle. Those guys are going to stand out. Those guys are going to produce at the level of the wide receivers that you're going to be taking within that range, right? The rest of those guys are going to be pretty touchdown dependent for the most part. So you've got to watch out for that. So I kind of prefer to kind of push it a little bit if I'm not going to go grab one of the top 3.
I tend to agree with you, especially this year. Now, usually in past years, and Chase, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been Travis Kelce. And if you don't get Travis Kelce, then why am I even bothering taking a tight end to the 10th round? That's kind of how we looked at it. But this year, we got 3 guys hanging around in that spot. How are you navigating that?
No, I kind of always tend to lean toward trying to grab an early tight end, one of the elite guys. And so, yeah, I did a lot of drafting Travis Kelce in the late first or the second round back in his absolute heyday. But I agree completely. That's how I want to run it this year. I am going to get one of those top 3 tight ends because I want that positional advantage that they give you. And once you get past them, there is quite a drop off in terms of points. The lower tiers, there's just not that much separation. So if I don't get those top 3, yeah, I'm willing to wait and push it. But then when I do push it, when I do look for a guy later, what I want to look for is one of those guys that, like the 3 that we've talked about, is going to be, or at least has a path to being, one of the top 2 pass targets on his team. And I think that there are a few guys that can fill that role. McBride, Bowers, and Kittle, I don't think any of us disagrees that right now those 3 guys are all at least in the top 2, if not the top target on their team. So that's what I'm looking for later as well. But there's a drop off after those top 3. I tend to be an elite tight end guy. I tend to also try to be an elite quarterback guy, which means you got to be really savvy at the other positions. But yeah, I like having that positional advantage there right off the bat.
That's a take for you. Chase doesn't draft running backs and wide receivers, just quarterbacks and tight ends for him all day of the week. I love it, Chase. So talking about those top 3, consensus wise, it's been Bowers, it's been McBride, it's been Kittle. Interesting, going into the show, all 3 people on this panel have a completely different order. We all have McBride #1. Stacy, tell me why McBride, not Brock Bowers, is #1 on your list.
So here's some fun facts about Trey McBride and Brock Bowers from last season. So did you guys know that they were separated by 1/10 of a fantasy point in their points per game production last year? 1/10, that's it. Also, they had, if you look at their stats too, it's almost I mean, it's just incredible how close they are in every single category, except touchdowns, a little bit different, right? Because we know McBride only had 2 touchdowns that he got towards the end of the season. So if you're looking at the stats, the production, and everything like that, and then you're looking at their ADP, you've got Bowers going as 17th guy off the board right now. And then you take a look and you're like, well, where's McBride going? And you're looking at 27th off the board. So if I can get almost a full round later and still take a guy who's going to give me almost nearly the same production that the top tight end is going to potentially give me, why wouldn't I take Trey McBride instead of Brock Bowers? And also, not much changed in Arizona this year, right? Yeah. Going into the season, a lot of things changed in Vegas. And I don't think that that's going to really have a lot of effect on Brock Bowers, but you've got to feed Genty now. And now you've got Amari Cooper in there fighting for targets. Who knows what's going to go on with Jacoby Myers? So I think there's more wiggle room there in Vegas than there is in Arizona. And that offense is going to run through McBride all day long. So that's why it's McBride for me.
Well, and we just get a little touchdown regression. I mean, the touchdowns was near 9 last season, and he only got 2. Now, this has been the running thing for him, right, Chase? Because he was much lower than expected the previous year, too. Like, it's been an issue, but the opportunities have been there. I mean, he's getting plus 20 red zone targets. He's getting 24% of the end zone targets for his team. Like, everything is there for him to just pop. And if he were to just pop, I mean, we're talking about a guy who would be producing as a wide receiver 1, essentially. So we want to see if that can happen. And Chase, I also want you to get your feedback on this point too. Stacey just kind of mentioned it. Some things changed at the Raiders. You know me, Chase, especially. I'm not a fan of Chip Kelly. I don't trust the guy as far as I could throw him at all. And what we saw the last time that he was a head coach, I'm looking back at the Philadelphia Eagle time, he was splitting time at the tight end position between Brent Selleck and Zach Ertz. Like almost 50-50, by the way. Like, it wasn't necessarily like this. No, it was almost 50-50. So, Chase, let me get your thoughts on that.
Well, no, I love the point, Stacey, that things have changed in Las Vegas, and there are a lot of mouths to feed there. There really are. They drafted Jack Besh. Jonte Thornton is all we've heard about this preseason from Las Vegas. They still have Myers. They just brought in, as you mentioned, Amari Cooper. There's a lot of wiggle room there for where Geno Smith can go with the ball, on top of having Genty and on top of the new quarterback in Geno Smith. I think that pass game, I'm indifferent to Chip Kelly. I know you don't like Chip Kelly. You had to deal with him for a year in San Francisco, which is probably coloring some of your bias.
That year did not happen. I already blocked it out of my mind. It didn't happen.
By the way, he had Garrett Selleck on that team as well. So Chip Kelly likes the Selleck boys.
The Selleck brothers.
But no, I like that idea because, like you said, McBride is coming back to essentially the same situation. Same running game, same quarterback, same receiving core. I mean, and we already know he's going to eat in that system. Now, when we talk about his touchdown regression, I'm a big fan of the idea of touchdown regression, but we also do have to keep in mind he only caught 2 touchdowns last season. He got credit for 2 others rushing, is essentially because he fell on a fumble or 2 there. So he did score 4 touchdowns, which wouldn't, if people look at it that way, it wasn't so egregious that he only scored 2.
That's variance at its finest. That is variance at its finest.
Right. I mean, but like you said, with 9 expected touchdowns, there is going to be some regression. There has to be. He's got another full year under his belt with Kyler Murray. I think the sky's the limit for McBride. I think that he could challenge for the league lead in targets, in the right circumstances there. But I worry a little bit about Bowers and that in that Las Vegas game, as they find themselves with the new quarterback and the play caller and all of the, figuring out how all of these targets and all these touches are going to shake out among this wide ranging group that they have there. So that's why, McBride is all day long for me, my top guy.
All right. Well, I love that. Now here's the deal. We have McBride, we have Bowers. What about the guy who actually was the tight end 1 last year? I'm just saying, my boy George Kittle, who came rolling in with a 13.2 points per game, He's got a pathway to be the number one target this season. I love Ricky Pearsall. Don't get me twisted, but there's a pathway for George Kittle to be the number one target on that team right now with how everything's shaken out. The Brandon Ayuk injury. We don't know if Juwan Jennings is holding in or is actually hurt. I'm actually leaning towards the guy might be really hurt right now, to be honest with you, when they're talking about the IR. He's had a 9.9% touchdown rate since Brock Purdy has taken over back in week 15 on 2022. Purdy and Kittle just equals touchdowns. I mean, 31% of the end zone targets. It's absolutely insane the usage he gets when you need him to the most. And you can get him 37th overall. I mean, we're talking third round here for George, back end third round for George Kittle. Stacey, what's your thoughts? I'm the 49ers fan, so I have to give it to somebody objective.
So I love George Kittle. I mean, just from a football wise, he's one of my favorite tight ends to just watch on Sundays, right? But yeah, I mean, like it's gonna be McBride, Bowers, or Kittle, and you've got somebody here who's got like a 20.6% target share from last season, and then you've got Ricky Pearsall, and who else? Like you said, we have no idea. I am getting a little concerned about Juwan Jennings. I thought maybe getting a paycheck might make that calf injury a little bit better, but now I'm starting to worry too. So who else is he going to throw to? There. So I mean, George Kittle, honestly, like I think besides McBride might be set up to have like just another year of exactly what he did last season.
I like it a lot. Now, here's the thing. Unlike Chase, I'm all in on my guys from my team that are actually good, but he's not in on his guys on his team from the Packers. And this is going to make this next debate really, really interesting with Tucker Kraft. Stacey's got Tucker Kraft in her top 5, who's also a Packers fan, or one of.
Yeah.
The resident Packers fan on this show has Tucker Kraft in his bust list. Like, go take it away, Chase. I mean, I got to hear the bust part first, and then we got to hear Stacey be like,
okay, you want to hear the bust part first? Okay. Well, listen, like you said, I love Tucker Kraft. I do. I love him a lot. And he's one of those guys that I'm so excited to have on my real life team. And I've got him a ton of places in Dynasty. I've got him all over the place in Dynasty. Okay. But here's the thing. Last year, 70 targets. That's pretty good. That's not too bad. He caught 50 of them. He catches a high percentage of his targets. He's still in half PPR settings. He only scored 8 points a game. And he had 7 touchdowns. He had, I'm going to talk about touchdown, ridiculousness later. And if being too efficient that way, 1 out of every 7 catches he had, 50 receptions, 7 touchdowns. That's going to be tough to duplicate. Okay. Then I add on top of that, the idea that we still have the same questions about this Green Bay passing attack in terms of fantasy wise, as we did last year, in my opinion. Where is all of that passing, is all of their passing output going to consolidate around 1 or 2 guys, or do they continue to spread it out all over the place? It was a super spreader offense last year. And some of this is not really having Jordan Love for the first month, most of the first month of the season, but this team ranked like 27th in the league in pass attempts. It was like ridiculous. They didn't pass the ball a lot. They want to run the ball. I think they want to pass the ball more than they did last year when Jordan's healthy, but this is a team that wants to run the ball. They still have 86 different targets to throw out there and share. And oh, by the way, Luke Musgrave was hurt for all but about 3 games last year. And Luke Musgrave is healthy this season as well. So there is another tight end they can throw in the mix. I just think that Tucker Kraft is being drafted around where he finished last season. And I think probably about where his ceiling is. I don't really see where more targets, where more touchdowns, where more catches, where more yards come for him out of this offense. And so I worry. I've heard his name all over the place, and I'm not disagreeing that he can be a top 10, top 12 option. I disagree that he can be a top 5 because I just don't see him being able to get the workload to carry him above the next 4, 5, 6 guys in front of him to reach that top 5. So,
all right, Stacey, why is he wrong?
All right. So, I mean, I might be a little higher than the consensus on Tucker Kraft. I am a Packer fan as well. So go Pack, go. Let me tell you why. Let me just make my case here for Tucker Kraft mac and cheese. That's how I refer to him.
Yep.
But Jordan Love is going to be healthy this season. He's coming in. We're not going to have to deal, knock on wood, right, with those injuries that we dealt with all last year. Okay. Now we've got another year of Matt LaFleur, of him being able to run the offense the way he wants to without dearly departed Aaron Rodgers, getting in there and mixing everything up, right? So we have him in full control. So we've got those things. We've got it set up for Tucker Kraft to come in and be the consistent, the reliable target, the healthy target, right? Because like right now, name a wide receiver on the Packers who's not injured, because I can't name one other than Matthew Golden, right? So Matthew Golden's going to come in. He's going to do what he does. He's going to get down the field, get down there super fast, but you got to be able to throw it to somebody else. And that's going to be Tucker Kraft until everybody else gets healthy. And of course, do they want to run the ball? Yeah, I mean, you got Josh Jacobs. Of course you want to run the ball if you got Josh Jacobs, right? There's nobody behind him. He can't run it every single play. Marshawn Lloyd's on the IR, so he's out. Who else we got back there? Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks, Izzy Abanikanda. I'm not excited about any of those guys. All right. Sorry, Packers backfield. So that's why I'm looking at Tucker Kraft. You got to look at this guy. I mean, he was incredibly efficient last year. He led all tight ends in yards after the catch per reception. He's very explosive. He got in there. He got those 7 touchdowns, right? Yeah, 7 touchdowns last year, which is right up there, behind Andrews and Kittle and Johnny Smith and those guys. So I just have a feeling that they're going to rely on him to be their solid, consistent option. So I think that he has that opportunity. Whether or not he ends the year in top 5, who knows? But I think he ends it a little bit higher than where he's being drafted. And I think he's a really good option for those of you that do like to punt tight end. He's a guy that's going to have that opportunity available to him. So that's kind of my spiel for Tucker Kraft and why I think he has that potential to get to the top 5.
All right, but before I rule on who wins this debate, Chase, where do you have him ranked at?
I'm still working on rankings after all the news that we got here from cuts and signings and trades and that, but I have him right there at 11. I have him right at 11.
So you have him right at ADP.
If essentially, yeah. But I worry.
If you have him ranked right at ADP.
That's not a terrible point. I'll take that. My feeling is, like I said, I keep hearing him so much. I think people are taking him at that ADP thinking that they're going to end up then getting David Njoku type numbers. Okay. And I worry people are putting their faith in the wrong place. I worry that it's causing people to plan their teams wrong, in my opinion.
Okay. You lose.
I love him. I love him as a player.
Right. Take the hit. We're done. He's got a bust. He ranks him right where ADP is. He can't be a bust. All right. So anyway, we still have more debates to have here because me and Chase, we got to go at it now. So here's one. So Chase doesn't like Tucker Kraft, but he does love his divisional rival, Sam Laporta. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It is fantasy football. We all have to have our lines in the sand of what we're willing